I'm glad you're here. We're starting a brand new series of Torah today. Ooh, we get to start with my favorite book, Genesis. You know, we've learned lies, worthless and unprofitable things. Torah helps us set our minds straight. It's the foundation for all the things that we know and understand and do. What does it mean to understand? It's the attitudes that we have. Do you know that a woman does not have the same attitude as a man does towards Yehovah's word? Oh, I know. Sounds strange to hear such a thing, doesn't it? But we're going to see that there are different roles for a man in Yehovah's kingdom than there are for a woman. I even hate to say a woman in Yehovah's kingdom. I'm going to say it like this. There's different rules for a man in Yehovah's kingdom than there are for his woman, the man's woman. Ooh, I know. Hard to hear sometimes. We're beginning a brand new journey. And you know what I like about this journey is it sets the foundation for understanding the word. It builds from Genesis 1, it builds on one understanding leading to another understanding leading to another understanding. And when it's all done, Yehovah has a spiritual seed separated from the world for himself to inherit the land. That's what it's all about. The land and the seed, the land and the seed, the land and the seed. Well, we're starting Torah today. What is Torah? You know, many of us, I don't even think we understand what Torah is. Let me show you something. Torah has a bunch of different names, but one of the names that it has is translated as the law. The law. For many years, I thought I was free from the law. The law of sin and death. Oh, brother, our understandings are so perverse. I want you to see about what it says about the way of life. Torah is the way that leads to life. Torah is the instructions which Yehovah has given to his people. He didn't give it to any of the Gentiles. He gave it to his people, Israel. Those who have come out of the kingdom of their birth and made themselves Yehovah's. Look what he says. The way of life winds upward for the wise, that he may turn away from hell below. Jeremiah 21 says, Thus says Yehovah, Behold, I set before you the way of life and the way of death. He says in Deuteronomy, choose life. Ezekiel says, Behold, all souls are mine, the soul of the Father, as well as the soul of the Son. How come he says the soul of the Father and the soul of the Son and not the soul of the mother and the soul of the daughter? These are all things that we have to find answers for. And between this week and especially next week, when we talk about the creation of the man and his woman, we're going to see some of these answers. He said, the soul who sins shall die. But if a man, an ish, is just and does what is lawful and right, if he has walked in my statutes and kept my judgments faithfully, he is just. He shall surely live, says my master, Yehovah. What about the woman? How does she fit into this picture? He goes on. What is this? This is Deuteronomy 30. But the word is very near you, in your mouth. What are we talking about? The word. The statutes and the judgments and ordinances, the word. The words which Yehovah gave to Moses. They are the oracles of Yehovah. But the word is very near you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. Now, he's not talking to the Gentiles. He's talking to Israel, who's about to enter the land. He says that you may do it. See, I've set before you today life and good, death and evil, that I may command you today to love Yehovah, your Elohim. Context clues, we're going to have to learn that all over again. To walk in his ways and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that you may live and multiply, as Yehovah, your Elohim, will bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away so that you do not hear, and are drawn away and worship other Elohim, other lawmakers and judges, and serve them. That's what we do every day. I'll bet you practically every one of you is doing it. I announce today that you shall surely perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land which you cross over the Jordan to go in and possess. He's talking to men. I call heaven and earth as witness today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both you and your seed may live, that you may love Yehovah your Elohim, that you may obey his voice, that you may cling to him, for he is your life, the length of your days, and that you may dwell in the land which Yehovah swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give them. Well, this is Torah. Torah is the way that leads to life. I use eSword. I love eSword. eSword is what has freed me to be able to see the truth. I could not have seen it in this perverted English. I teach from the New King James Version. eSword's free. If you don't have it, you must get it. These notes, I was just showing you a topic note. This is topic notes. I've got about 400 different topic notes on a vast variety of themes, topics. They're used by me to get to things quickly. When I want to know about the sons of Jacob, birth order, I pretty much got them memorized now, but this has been something that I've referred to over and over and over again. When I want to talk about Abraham, I've got his timeline, and I can get to it quickly. And through that timeline, I can get also to any verse in the scriptures. I can simply just click on it, and it will go to it. Amazing, amazing tool. It has taken me hundreds, probably thousands of hours to develop all of these topic notes. But I will give them to you free. The highlights that you're going to see are all these colors in here. When you see this orange over the scripture, Genesis 1:1, it will tell you that I have a study note that is associated with that verse. Usually, lots of notes associated with that verse. We're going to go through some of these today. We're going to go through a lot of these today. But these are all available to you. You know, for years, I had a Bible. Here's one. Can you see that? All the markings, things at the top of the page. I'd get Bibles like this. I'd use them. I've highlighted them. They were mine. I knew when I turned to a page where the thing was on the page. But then someone would come along and spill their coffee on my Bible. And it would melt away. This one actually has been rebound. I liked it so much. But you can only do that so many times. The highlights in here, you can't change the colors. The notes, you can for the most part erase them, rewrite them, but it comes to the point where it begins to tear, it begins to fade. But eSword gives me the ability to have unlimited notes for every verse. eSword gives me the ability, here's a good example. This is the interlinear. Wade, I was talking to you this morning about the interlinear. Here it is here. I can click on any one of these words. Bereshit. Okay, it's Reshit is the word. Bereshit is because it's got the bet in front of it that says in. In Reshit. In the beginning is what it's saying. But I can go to that word. I can click on it. See, H722225. I can click on it. Now it appears down here. Did I see down at the bottom where my cursor is? H7225. When you see it down there, now when you go to the dictionary, I've got information on that word in Word Study, in Strong's, Brown Drier Briggs, which I rarely use, and the Ancient Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible. And this is the New American Standard Exhaustive Concordance. Yeah, it's not very useful to me. But I use an Ancient Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible all the time. Jeff Benner stuff. It will tell you what the root word is and how it relates to the word in question. Loads of information. I can do a compare feature. And when I'm on Genesis 1:1, as I am right now, this is how all these different translations translate Genesis 1:1. Okay? Many times I have read verses and said, no, Dad doesn't talk like that. And I can go to this compare feature and I can look at it and see this is what Dad's saying. I know my dad. But you know what? We don't know Yehovah. Most of us. You only get to know him with time. And Torah is that which he has given to us to help us know him. That's what it's all about. Knowing Yehovah. I'm really talking to men. Not so much ladies. Good for you to know. But I'm talking to men. I will give you my study notes, my topic notes, my highlights. I will give you the interlinear, this one. I will give you the ancient Hebrew lexicon of the Bible, this one. I'll give you the word study. Really, you should pay for that one. But I will give you all of my notes. They're free. It will save you gobs of time in study. And if you will go through these lessons that we do each week with these notes, so you can compare, you can read, it will help you. It will change your life. It will help you to know Yehovah. That's our goal. Well, that said, let's get started with Genesis 1. It says, in the beginning, Elohim created. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 words in English is only 3 words in Hebrew. He says, Bereshit bara Elohim. In the beginning, created Elohim. Ha Shamayim and Ha Aretz, the heavens and the earth. You notice it said in English, God. I don't even see God anymore. I don't. I can't. When I read it, even when I want to say God, I say Elohim because I've trained my mind to think Elohim. Why? It's all about renewing our mind to the good and the acceptable and the perfect will of Yehovah. God. What's a God? You know what? For me, and I think even for Carrie also, when we thought about gods, other gods except the Lord, we always thought about idols. That's what we thought about. Worshipping idols. But you know what? That's not what an Elohim is. That's not what a God is. We need to renew our minds. And I specifically choose to use the word Elohim or El or Elo, which I don't use very often. Elohi, we see now and then, comes from the word Elo. But they all have this root word here, El. El. The root word of Elohim, the root word of Elohi, the root word of Elo is El. Again, Jeff Benner, when you go to this particular word, remember we said we click on it, and it comes out down here. And then when we go to the dictionary, Jeff Benner gives the root. Ooh, it's really helpful to see what the root of these words are, because they teach us more than just giving it. See, you go to Strong's and he'll just always give you the roots. Ben. When we talk about B'nai, Benim, Bet, Benot, Beth, he doesn't tell you that the root of all those is Ben. He just gives you Ben. But there's more to be understood. And Ancient Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible is wonderful in that it gives us not only the root, but it gives us all the words that go with that particular root, like Elo. Okay, that is the singular of Elohim. When we talk about Elohi, we're talking about the Elohi that is the Elohi of Abraham, of Isaac, of Jacob, of Michael Didier. But most of your Elohi are people like Obama and the governor and the mayor. We serve different Elohi. Why? I think it's because we don't know any better. We have been taught that that's what we're supposed to do. But we don't know that when Yahovah said, "You shall have no other Elohim before my face," we think it's talking about idols. But idols isn't the first commandment, it's the second commandment. Thou shalt have no other graven images, nor shall you worship them. What is an El? If we're going to understand the foundation, we've got to understand what an El is. Well, take a look. Here it is, Ancient Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible. By the way, when you want to close these, click on this bar here, and it will close, and you won't lose your place. Here it is. In the beginning, it says, created Elohim. Bereshit, Bara, Elohim. Remember the first three words. Here's Elohim. It comes from the root word. Let's take a look at the root first. It says the pictograph, I'm reading right here, the pictograph Aleph is a picture of an ox head and also represents its strength. The Lamed is the picture of a shepherd's staff and also represents the authority of the shepherd. Combined, these two pictographs mean the strong authority. Strong authority. And can be anyone or anything of strong authority. You hear what's going on? The lawmakers and judges of this world have replaced the lawmaker and judge and creator of the earth. Here's Eloha, or Elo. Remember that other one we were talking about, which is the singular of Elohim. Elo, he says power. The power or might of one who rules or teaches. One who yokes with another. Often applied to rulers or a god. We make yokes with the Elohim of the land with our covenants. Driver's licenses, marriage licenses, business licenses, Social Security, and a host of other things that bind us to their leadership. Your papers, please? That's why they ask for the papers, because they want to see who your Elohim is. They say, oh, just as I suspected, I'm going to have to give you tickets. Well, that's a whole nother story, and we'll get into it as we go. But in here, it's talking about In the beginning created Elohim the heavens and the earth. What's he doing? He's given us the big picture. Oh, we see this over and over and over in Torah, especially Genesis, but we see it all over Torah. He gives us the big picture, and then he breaks it down. Okay, this is the big picture. In the beginning, created Elohim, the heaven and the earth. Now, he's going to tell you what he did, how he did it. Let me tell you a little bit about that, he says. He says, in the beginning, the earth was without form. Oh, let me just see here. What else do we have here? Oh, I got to mention this. Created. Okay, this word is this word right here. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. 20. Created. This is third person, masculine, singular. Okay, this is important because this doesn't say they created. It says he created. Why is that important? We're going to find out why that is important here very soon. If it had, this is actually the root word. Oh, I don't want to go into this right now. I'd love to teach you this, but I've got to keep moving. But this says he created. Oh, no, I can't go to the second verse yet. I got to keep talking about Elohim. It's too important for you. He created. I put this single declaration establishes Elohim as being the sole creator, the owner, the sovereign of the universe. Elohim created the universe, ordered the universe, and is free to do with it as he wills. This fact is made evident in the later narrative concerning the flood. Yes, he decided to destroy the whole thing. He's going to do it again. It's his. He can do with it what he wants. Look what it says. The earth is Jehovah's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and all they who dwell in it. If I were hungry, would I tell thee? For the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. The heavens are thine, David says, and the earth also is thine. As for the world and the fullness of thereof, thou hast founded it. Well, I think you get the idea. But we need to talk about something else that is very important. The word that we're using here is, verse 1, is this word here, Elohim. Elohim. It's a plural form of Elo. That's what we were just talking about, right? Elo. This is Elohim. Well, I need to help you understand the plural nouns in Hebrew. Two different kinds. In general, it says nouns are made plural by adding the suffix im, yod mem, or vav tav. Ot. Im or ot. Generally, the im is used for masculine nouns and the ot for feminine nouns. In some cases, masculine nouns, usually very ancient words, will use the ot suffix as well. The Hebrew word av for father and or for light are masculine words, but are written as avot and orot in the plural, using what would appear to be feminine plurals. In all modern languages, the plural is always quantitative. Did you hear that? In modern languages, the plural is quantitative. See, this is where we make our mistake because we fail to understand what an Elohim is. Because we see it as plural, gods. In all modern languages, the plural is always quantitative. Well, in ancient Hebrew, a plural can be quantitative or qualitative. Ooh, this is so important for us to see, and it will have huge ramifications later on. For instance, in English, the word trees refers to more than one tree quantitative. Well, in the Hebrew, the plural word etzim can mean more than one tree quantitative or one very large tree qualitative. You hear what's going on here? Another example of this is the word behemoth, usually translated as behemoth, talking about that big animal. Job 40, verse 15. This word is the plural form of behemah, a word we're going to use today. Behemah, beast, meaning beast, but refers to a very large beast rather than more than one beast. Okay, that's the quantitative or qualitative sense. One very large beast, behemoth. One of the most common uses of the qualitative plural is the word Elohim. Elohim, which can be translated as gods, the lawmakers and judges of the land, or as God, the Elohim, the creator of the heavens and the earth. Qualitative. Now, because of the lies that we have learned about Trinity and so many of these other things, we are left in confusion. And incidentally, this chapter in Genesis doesn't help. There's something in here that we're going to see today. It doesn't help this confusion. Okay, let's go to Genesis 2. He says, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. In my version, it says, and the spirit of Elohim was hovering over the face of the waters. It's not what it says in the Hebrew. Look what it says. The earth was without form. I'm reading on the right-hand side here. And darkness was on the face of the deep, the void, the emptiness. And spirit, Elohim, was hovering over the face of the waters. The Shamayim, the waters. Spirit, Elohim. Now, it's a subtle difference. We're talking about the Spirit of God and Spirit, Elohim. Spirit of God Goes back to the Trinity, doesn't it? It's almost separate from God. It's the Spirit of God was over the face of the waters. You see what's going on here? No, we're talking about Spirit, Elohim. Elohim is Spirit. And those who worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. Elohim is Spirit. You can't see Him. That's why He always appears in a cloud, hovering over the face of the waters. Oh my goodness, could this have prophetic meaning as well? We're talking about creation. But even now, Yehovah is hovering over the face of the waters. Prophetically speaking, when we talk about the waters, the sea, we're talking about the people of the world. We see this over and over and over in the prophets. I think it was David who says he was drawn out of the waters. Spirit Elohim is drawing even now us out of the waters of this world. Well, I've got a lot of New Testament things. I try to stay away from the New Testament. There's so many things that don't work. There's things that do work. But, we've got to treat this New Testament not as the scriptures, but as the commentaries for the scriptures. And there are some good things in there. John says, Elohim is spirit. These are the words of Yeshua, supposedly. And they that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. Timothy says, Paul says to Timothy, now unto the King, eternal, immortal, invisible. He's eternal, immortal, invisible. The only wise Elohim. There's a lot of Elohim out there, but He's the only wise one. Be honor and glory forever and ever. I say, amen. As a bodiless spirit, Elohim is without limit in time or space. He is therefore truly eternal. Well, without form or substance, the Creator is not without purpose or will. It is evident from His work that the Creator desires to be known, or to be known. He wants to be known. He has given us His word. He's given us His creation so that He can be known by it. Romans 1 talks about that. He is known by His creation. Each act of creation is an expression of the Creator's will. In that His works are tangible, they reveal the Creator's desire to exist in a knowable way. Through His creation, Yehovah reveals Himself to be an Elohim of order, distinction, and moral judgment. You know what? One thing that I want you to see as we go through this Torah is that there's nothing that we have to accept by faith as the world understands faith. Just believe it. Doesn't have to make sense. Well, here's something in Romans. This is the one I was talking to you about in Romans. It says, for since the creation of the world, His invisible attributes are clearly seen. See, Yehovah is spirit. He has invisible attributes, but he wants to be seen and understood. He wants to be known by his men. His invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by things that are made. Even his eternal power and Godhead. Godhead. Isn't that just what we're talking about? Trinitarian business. Yeah, see, this is why I hate to use this kind of stuff. Godhead. Yeah, what? Godhead. So he's the head now of all the three gods? No, don't go there. They are without excuse because although they knew Elohim, they did not, they probably should say, knew of Elohim, they did not glorify him as their Elohim, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools and changed the glory of the incorruptible Elohim into an image made of corruptible man and birds, four-footed animals, and creeping things. I like this one. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The everlasting Elohim, Yahovah, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He's the creator of the ends of the earth. Spirit, Elohim, was hovering over the face of the waters. Then Elohim said, "Let there be light." And there was light. What Elohim does, this is a principle we're going to learn over and over and over again. What Elohim does, or says, he does. His words will always come to pass. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. He was hovering over the face of the waters. He drew me out of many waters, just like he drew David out of many waters. How did he do it? By turning on the lights. I hope that your eyes are beginning to see. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. And Elohim divided the light from the darkness. This is what he does. He divides the light from the darkness. You know what? He's doing it right now. He's pulling men out of this world. That's a process of dividing the light from the darkness. I put Yahovah as making a distinction between light and darkness, as well as moral judgment. He calls what he made good. He does it over and over and over. We're going to see it. Everything that he makes, he's going to say it was good. And when he's all done, he's going to call it very good. Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So evening and morning were the first day. I think that's interesting. Our days start with the setting of the sun, not the rising of the sun, and certainly not at midnight. Our days start with the setting of the sun. God called, Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening, look at what the word is here, the evening dusk, and morning, bakar, that's the daytime, the sunny parts, were the first day. So we have our days, night, morning, evening to evening. Really is our day. That's our yom, the first day, our echad day. There's a good word to learn. Echad, first. We want to make it one oftentimes, but it's first. And Elohim said, move this up, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. What's going on here? Firmament. You know, I remember Carrie was telling me about, he took flying lessons one time, and the instructor was talking about him, don't do this or you're going to crash into the firmament. And this is what so many of us think, is that firmament is something that is firm. But look what it says. Verse 8. It says, he called the firmament heaven. So evening and the morning were the second day. Well, what is this firmament that we're talking about? Here it is, rakia. Rakia. This is the word study on this particular word. It says a masculine noun, an expanse, the firmament, an extended surface, the firmament and extended surface. Literally, this word refers to a great expanse, and in particular, the vault of the heavens above the earth. It denotes the literal sky that stretches from horizon to horizon. This is what we're talking about. The firmament is actually what Carrie and his flight instructor were flying in. You can't crash into the firmament, you fly in the firmament. Well, and that is exactly what we're going to see in Genesis 1:20 when it says, then Elohim said, let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. The firmament of the heavens. Isn't that interesting? No, what's he doing? You know, Kent Hovind does creation science evangelism. He's got some really interesting teachings, but he's talking about waters being separated from waters and a firmament being in the middle of them. We had waters apparently above the earth at one time. I think that's why we were able to live 900, 1,000 years, because the oxygen level was so much better, and the rays that normally hit us and break us down, break down everything, were filtered by this water that was above the earth. When the rain came down in the flood, it was these waters from below the earth and above the earth that were falling. It changed the world dramatically. I often wonder if maybe we're going to see the waters again above the earth in the millennial kingdom. Wouldn't that be cool? We'll see. Thus Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And Elohim called the firmament heaven. So the firmament he's calling heaven. Shamim. Shamayim. Shamayim is the word they're using here. This is a qualitative plural. We're not talking about multiple heavens, although we could, because the heavens that I have today and Carrie has today are clear. But the heavens where you're at right now might not be clear. But we're talking about the whole earth right now, aren't we? So we're not talking about heavens plural, quantitative. We're talking about heavens plural, qualitative. Again, we've got to think a little bit differently when you see these Hebrew plurals. Shamayim. The place where the birds are flying. It says an unused root, meaning to be lofty, the sky. What else do I have here? Here, let me do this. Here it says, from an unused root, meaning to be lofty, the sky. Oh, I could go on forever talking about citizens of Shamayim, but I don't think I can do that. I'm already an hour into this, and I've got a lot to cover still. We'll get into this on another day. There's a difference between those who dwell on the earth and those who dwell in Shamayim. You'd think they're the same group of people, wouldn't you? Revelation makes this really clear. We see it over and over again. Here's just one verse. Let me just show you this one verse. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. We're dwelling in the heavens. How do you dwell in the heavens? You dwell in the heavens by serving Spirit Elohim. He says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. Well, wouldn't you think that anybody who dwells in the heavens also dwells on the earth? Well, you'd think that, but you'd be wrong. No, I dwell in heaven. Depending on who you serve, you dwell on the earth. Everyone who dwells on the earth is going to die. Here's another one, Revelation. This is 13:6-8. He says, then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Elohim, to blaspheme his name. What's his name? Yehovah, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. Look at that. It was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And authority was given him over every tribe and tongue and nation, all who dwell on the earth. Look at, there's a difference between those who dwell in heaven and those who dwell on the earth, isn't there? All who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life. Well, now they go into the lamb slain from the foundation of the earth. It might be right if they said the lambs slain from the foundation of the earth. You could do that. That way we go back to Passover. But again, there's so much perversion that gets put into the New Testament. It's really hard to sort it all out. Well, we could talk about some more about the heavens and the earth. I've got lots of writings about that, and we're going to talk about that in days to come. Third day. Then Elohim said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let dry land appear. And it was so. Heavens. Again, this is that plural word. Look at here they translate it as heavens, and in verse 8, yeah, there it is right there. In verse 8, they translate it as heaven. Same word. Why is it heaven here and heavens down here? Let the waters under the heavens. He called the firmament heaven. I call this discretionary translating. I don't like it. We'll see it over and over and over again. Sometimes they'll call it the children of Israel. Sometimes they'll call them the sons of Israel. But it's always the same word. Why do they do that? Well, and the fact is, neither one of them is right. It's not the children of Israel or the sons of Israel. It's Israel's seed. We're going to see that as we go through these lessons. Discretionary translating. I think they do it to promote their theology. I really do. He's making the earth and the sea. Now he's going to say this. Be gathered together into one place and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And Elohim called the dry land earth, Aretz. And he called the dry land earth, Aretz. And the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. He's still working on the third day. Then Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, and herbs that yield seed, and fruit trees that yield fruit, according to its kind, whose kind is in itself on the earth. And it was so. So these are the things that he's doing on the earth. And the earth brought forth grass, the herbs that yield seeds according to its kind, and the trees that yield fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. So he created the earth, the seas, the grass, the herbs, and the trees. Now we got the fourth day. Then Elohim said, really it's probably and Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, days and years. Signs. Here's the word, ot. This is otet. Otet. Le otet, in fact. Talking about signals, beacons, marks, evidence of what? The moeds. Signs and seasons. Therefore the moeds, here's the word right here, moed. Moed. Appointed times, fixed times, festival times. The times that we meet with the Creator. Yes, Gary says Passover, but all of them. Passover, Shavuot, Yom Teruah, Yom Kippurim, Sukkot, and the great last day. Signs and seasons, moeds, appointed times. And for Yom, and for years. Sanah, years. That's a new word for me. Days, everybody knows days. Yom, there it is. I try and put the, when you see the green, that's the root of the word. And this says and, Vav says and, the Lamed says for, and the Im is the plural. And 4 days is what it says. And years. Oh, you've got to take the time to learn the Hebrew. It's not hard. It's really quite easy. But I wanted to point out here that we're not talking about, it doesn't say weeks, it doesn't say Sabbaths, does it? It says days and years. Many want to go back to what they're calling the lunar Sabbath. Don't go there. It was never intended for that. Our Sabbath does not change. 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1 is the rhythm that Yehovah has always maintained on the earth. It hasn't changed. The Sabbath is always going to be the Sabbath. It doesn't change from month to month. Don't let that be contingent on days or years. It has nothing to do with the sun and the moon. Don't go there. 4th day, sun, moon were created for signs and seasons, days and years. He made the stars also. Let's see what else I have here. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knows it's going down. Enoch says, for the sun changes oft, but for a blessing or a curse. And the course of the path of the moon is the light to the righteous. Why is it light to the righteous? Because it's all about the signals and telling us about the moads. Here's the word study on or. Talks about the sign, the signal, the mark, the oath. Oh no, that's not or, that's oath. Okay, that was word study. Here's Strong's. It's talking about the same thing. It's a signal, a flag, a beacon. Here they are talking about the moed. This is Strong's talking about the moed, an appointed time. That is a fixed time or season. Word study is saying something similar. Let me move it down or up a little bit. There we go. A masculine noun meaning an appointed time or place. That's what word study has to say about moeds, the seasons. Verse 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heavens. Heavens, of the heavens, to give light on the earth. And it was so. Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens. What are we talking about? The firmament of the heavens. We're talking about the sky, aren't we? Let them be for lights. And Elohim made 2 great lights. The greater to rule the day, and the lesser to rule the night. He made the stars also. Incidentally, he made the stars also. You see what's going on here? He gives us the big picture. Then he breaks it down over and over and over again. Elohim set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw it was good. So the evening, there it is again, the evening and the morning were the 4th day. I have ways of marking these things. This kind of bluish one, light blue, is all the days that we're starting on. Then Elohim said, let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. That's when I first realized, oh, that's what the firmament is. The firmament is where the birds fly. So Elohim created great sea creatures. So what did he have? He's got the birds now flying, and now he's creating sea creatures. So Elohim created great sea creatures with every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Jehovah saw that it was good. So he's made the waters. He separated the waters from the waters, and he made the heavens. And then he separated the waters from the land and made the earth. Now he's filled the heavens with the birds, and he's filled the waters with the fish. But there's more. And Elohim blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. Look at this. He's talking about being fruitful and multiplying. Fruitful and multiplying. How can birds of the sea creatures be fruitful and multiply? Is Jehovah saying multiply and multiply? No, not at all. I think we fail to understand what it means to be fruitful. These animals are fruitful by doing what they were created to do. A pig eating the dead things in the earth is doing what he was created to do. The birds who eat the dead things in the earth, even though they're unclean, are being fruitful when they do what they were created to do. You know what? All the animals which Jehovah created, without even trying, are fruitful and multiplying. They're doing what they were created to do. There's only one creature that doesn't do what it was created to do. We're going to find out what that creature is soon. Well, now he's talking about the earth. We did the waters, we did the skies. Now we're going to begin the sixth day. And look what he's going to do. Then Elohim said, let the earth bring forth living creatures. Living creatures. Living souls. Here's the word, kayi. Kayi. Or maybe kayi. Nefesh. Nefesh. Souls. Flesh. Animals. Let the earth bring forth living creatures, living things, living flesh, according to its kind. Now, living creatures according to its kind. Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to its kind. Big picture. Now we're going to have the small picture. Look what it says. Cattle, creeping things, and the beasts of the earth. Oh my goodness. Each according to its kind, so it was, is what it says in the New King James. Folks, that's not what we're talking about. There's two things that are going to be on the earth. They call it cattle. I wouldn't call it cattle. I would call it what it's called, behemoth. Behemoth. Behemoth and creeping things. Behemoth kind. And the creeping things is the bug kind. Pretty much anything that lives on the land that's not a behemoth, a four-footed animal, is the creeping animal, the bug kind. And then it says they make it beasts of the earth. Where do they even get that? Look at the word that they're using, beasts of the earth. It's this word right here, kai. It's the living of the earth. The living things. You could add the word things, the living things, and the living things of the earth. The four-footed animals and the creeping things, the living things of the earth, each according to its kind. So it was. And Elohim made, well, here we go again. See, it's really hard. You'd think cattle. I mean, just by saying cattle instead of beasts, when we're talking about four-footed animals, we're talking about what? Turtles for 4 foot, dogs, cats, lions, tigers. Oh my!
And bears.
Okay, not just cattle. There's more. And by translating this word as cattle instead of behemoth and understanding four-footed animals, we lose the clarity of what is actually being said. Leviticus 11 talks about clean and unclean food. 4 kinds of things. What did we have? We had fish kind. We had behemoth kind. We had creeping kind. And we had bird kind. 4 kinds of animals. I wish I had another B. Bug kind, behemoth kind, bird kind. I need one that goes with a B for a fish. It doesn't work. Can't do it. But those are the 4 kinds, so we have to fit those 4 kinds. Remember, how do we understand Torah? Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. It's all got to fit together. So if we have a sudden now having a cattle kind, where does that fit in? Where does beast kind fit in? Beasts of the earth. No, it doesn't say beasts of the earth. What does it say? It's talking about the same thing, living creatures. And Elohim made the living of the earth according to its kind. Cattle, behemoth, according to its kind. And everything that creeps, the bugs, the creeping kind on the earth according to its kind. So there's only 2 things. We had the birds for the air, we had the fish for the sea, and we had the 4-legged animals for the behemoth kind for the earth, and the creeping things for the earth. 4 things. But there's one more thing that we have to make. On the earth according to its kind, and Jehovah saw that it was good. Now, still the 6th day. Something else is going to happen. Look what it says. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Oh my goodness. Who is the our? Who is the us? Folks, there are people who will go through this chapter, and there's only 2 verses that they will actually grab onto. And they're the ones that will lead you in the way that you should not go. I'm here to tell you, mark my words, there are mistakes in Torah. There are things that are just flat out wrong. I know. Do you find that troubling? There's people who will tell you, especially the New King James people, New King James people, every word of God is true. There's not an error at all. Well, we're going to see errors practically every day. Every time we teach, we're going to see mistakes in Torah. Plain as day. You'll see. But you've got to open your mind to see it. Now, I'm going to tell you, in the Hebrew, and that's why I say I'm not talking about the English, I'm talking about the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, it says, let us make. Here, I'll go to the Hebrew. This is it right here. Let us. Here it is right here. Us. See right here? That nun says us. Let us make man, Adam, in our image. Here's our. This says our. I mean, it's there. I can't argue with that. But I'm here to tell you it's wrong. It's perversion. It can't be, and it's not so. It doesn't agree with the rest of Yehovah's word. Is that important to you? Are you going to use one isolated verse, perverted at that, to trump all the other places where Yehovah says that he created it in his image? Okay, you got a choice to make. I hope you make the right choice, because your life will depend on it. Because this us business is where people go to build their Trinitarian theology, to be able to worship their golden calf, Yeshua. I put, Yehovah made man. Let's take a look at this. Genesis 2:8. No, let's look at the very next verse. I'm going to skip ahead. So Elohim created the man in his own image. Read my lips. Elohim created. This is that same word, bara. He created. Yehovah created, not man, the man. Ha-Adam is what this verse says. There's no us involved in it. The very next verse. Yet people will use this verse, 26, to build their theology. It's going to get them killed. Let's go back to that thing and why it's going to get them killed. Because they used that, us, to make it Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. The us. Folks, you learn lies. Let's take a look at a few verses. This is Genesis 2:6, 2:8. Next chapter. Yehovah Elohim planted a garden east of Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. The man. This is not man. This is not even Adam. It's the man. Here's the next one. Surely, this is Isaiah 29, verse 16. Surely you have things turned around. Shall the potter be esteemed as the clay? Or shall the potter be esteemed as the clay? For shall the thing made say to him who made it, he did not make me? Or shall the thing formed say to him who made it? Remember, him is Yahovah, him who made it. He has not understood. Isaiah 43 says, everyone who is called, let me move this up. Isaiah 43 says, everyone who is called by my name, whom I have created for my glory, I have formed him. Yes, I have made him. You know what? He's not talking about the flesh man. He's talking about the spiritual man here. Israel. The Ezra men are the ones that Yahovah creates, and he's talking about him. Everyone who is called by my name. How do you get called by his name? What's his name? Yahovah. Do the people who are still calling him the Lord, calling him Hashem, calling him Adonai, are that the people he's talking about? Or is he talking about the Ezra men who have come into covenant with him and become his heir? Oh, we have so much to learn. Genesis 6:7 says, so Yahovah said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both men and beasts, Behemah, creeping things, birds of the air. There it is, the three things. The fish of the sea, they're going to stay in the sea. For I am sorry that I made them. For ask now concerning the days that are past, which were before you, since the day Elohim created man on the earth, and ask from one end of heaven to the other, whether any great thing like this has happened or anything like it has been heard. Who made man? Yahovah made the man. And we're going to see he alone was made in his image. This was not a plural group that made the man in their image, our image. Don't go there. You're going to be destroyed. Let me show you a couple more verses. I made the earth and created man on it. My hands stretched out the heavens, and all their host I have commanded. To the 144,000, those servants of Yahovah, he says, you are my witnesses, says Yahovah, and my servant whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no Elohim formed, nor shall there be after me. I, even I, am Yahovah, and besides me there is no Savior. That's why I say, if you go with this perversion in this particular verse, you're apt to go with following Yeshua instead of Yahovah. And what does he say? Besides me, there is no Savior. There was no Elohim formed, nor will there be after me. It's going to get you killed. We've got to renew our minds. In Joel 2, it says, those who call on the name of Yahovah shall be saved. All those who are called by my name. Isn't that what we just read up above? We've already addressed the issue of the plural form of Elohim being the qualitative plural. Many have tried to assert the plural language used in the creation of man is the foundation for the Christian Trinity, or the Christian doctrine of the Trinity. Well, this is exactly what I was saying. Don't go there. It's going to get you killed. So now, let's look at how we finish our verse, because we're going to see the four things that he created. It says, let them have dominion over the fish. Fish, they're in the sea. Over the birds of the air. Over the behemoth. They put cattle. Again, we got to learn to read with understanding. Over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So we're going to have, it says, let them have dominion over the fish. Them. Who's the them? Them. Man. Let us make man in our image. Remember now, we're talking about big picture. And then in the next chapter, we're going to get the little picture, the specifics of how this creation was done. And we have to understand this in the context of the specifics. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because look what it's going to say now, the very next verse. So Elohim created, it says man. It's not man. It's so he created the man. This is the very first time that we're seeing Ha-Adam. Ha-Adam. Put that in your mind. This is important that you understand who Ha-Adam is. It's the male. Elohim created Ha-Adam in his own image. Not our image, his image. Now it's right. In the image of Elohim, he created him. Period. Now he's going to go on. Male and female, he created them. Okay, understand, big picture, smaller picture. Many people, they lack understanding. You know, a woman wants to believe that she was created in the image of Elohim. I'm here to tell you, she was not. The man, Ha-Adam, was created in Yehovah's image. Sorry to upset you, little apple carts. But there are many things in this day and age. We have got women, Jezebel women, who want to be men. They'll quote you the verse out of the New Testament. There's no male or female, slave or free. And so they'll build their theology based on what? Some New Testament commentary that's perverted. Doesn't care what the rest of the word says. They grab that verse and they're going to stand on that verse. By jinky. Don't go there. It's going to get you killed. A woman is not a man is not a woman. Women don't do things men do. Men don't do things women do. We got to learn the role of a man and the role of his woman. Did he create male and female? Yes! He created them! But he created man, Ha-Adam, male. Zakar, here's the word right here, Zakar. He made Zakar. It's male. He made all the animals male and Nekabah. Zakar and Nekabah, male and female. Nekabah, Zakar and Nekabah. Here's the Nekabah. Nekabah. And Nekabah. Vav Nekabah. Female. He created them. He created them. Them. This is the thing that says them right there. Okay. 28. Then Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion. So much to understand. Bless them. He blessed them. Elohim blessed them. Them. The male and the female. And Elohim said, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. How are the animals fruitful and multiplying? They were doing what they were supposed to do. Okay? Now, we have to understand that what a woman is supposed to do and what a man is supposed to do is not the same thing. Together, they can multiply. But he's really not talking to the woman. He is and he isn't. Because she's got to be fruitful. She's got to do what she was created to do. But what she was created to do is not what the man was created to do. But now he says, have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Every living thing that moves on the earth. What are the things? The birds of the air, bird kind, the fish of the sea, fish kind, and then every living thing that moves on the earth, we're talking about behemoth kind and bug kind, aren't we? Creepy kind. Who's going to rule? The man's going to rule. That's exactly right. The man's going to rule. But, again, because we can't see this very clearly, it's difficult because we're just starting to learn the foundation. Now, and the very next time he talks about being fruitful and multiplying, look what he says. He's talking to Noah. Then Elohim spoke to Noah. Not his wife, not his sons here, not their wives. Then Elohim spoke to Noah, saying, go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and your sons' wives with you. Who's he talking to? Noah. Bring out with you every living thing of all the flesh that is with you, bird kind, behemoth kind, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Creeping kind. Things that, we got that. So they may abound on the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. Now, listen here. This is Genesis 9. Now, listen to who he's talking to. So Elohim blessed Noah and his sons. Who? Noah's wife? Their sons' wives? No, Noah and his sons, and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Here's another one. Still talking to Noah and his sons, he says this. Surely for your lifeblood, he's talking about animals who kill a man or men who kill a man. No, not a man. Ha-Adam. Ooh, there's a difference between Ha-Adam and his woman. But killing Ha-Adam appears to be different than killing a woman. Isn't that interesting? Listen to what he says. Surely for your lifeblood, talking to Noah and his sons. Go check it out. It's the same verse. Here it is. Same chapter as this one right up here. So Elohim blessed Noah and his sons and said to them. This is just more of what he's saying. Surely for your lifeblood I will demand a reckoning. From the hand of every beast I will require it. And from the hand of Ha-Adam, from the hand of the man. If a man kills you, I will have a reckoning. From the hand of every man's brother, I will require the life of Adam, the man. Oh, this is so interesting because when we talk about the cities of refuge, who are they running from? Every man's brother who killed Adam. Whoever shed the man's blood, by man Ish, his blood shall be shed. For in the image of Elohim, he made the man. Ooh, isn't that interesting? And as for you, Noah and your sons, be fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply in it. Verse 29. We're almost done. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're all right. And Elohim said, still in the 6th day, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food. Also every beast, every four-footed animal, every behemoth of the earth, to every bird of the air, and everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life. Kayi. To life, lakayim. That's the same root word. Laki. I have given every green herb for food, and it was so. And Elohim saw that everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. Look at that. Very good. All the other times he saw that it was good. Now he's created everything. He's got it all done. He said it was very good. So evening and morning was the 6th day. Again, we're talking about big picture. There's people who will say, well, here he created the man and the woman, and now in Genesis 2, he's going to create the man, and then later he's going to create the woman. And so what do? They want to say, well, man, he must have created man, and then years later, now he's creating man all again. No, we don't understand. We don't understand that he's giving the big picture and then the small picture. Okay, he's talked about all the living things. Then he told us what all the living things were. Bird kind, fish kind, creeping kind, and behemoth kind. Okay, those are all the living things, the big picture. There's so much that we need to get. All right, well, questions, comments. Terry says, man was always referred to as mankind. Oh my, how wrong. That is what I understood in the past. Yeah, oh, very good, Terry. I'm glad you're seeing that. Yeah, it doesn't say mankind. There are many, many translations. Here, let's take a look at this. So Elohim created man. This says the man. Okay, let's look at this. Here it is. I'm going to go to the compare feature. Here it is. Ha-Adam. Ha-Adam. See, here's Adam. Dalet, Aleph, Dalet, Mem. That's Adam. Here's the Ha. This is Ha-Adam. Okay, but look at how it's translated. So this says Yahovah, and really this even says, and he will create. He will create. So, or they put so, it says Elohim and Elohim will create. Ha-Adam in his image. That's what it says. And will. And he will create. Isn't that interesting? And, well, here, I put it here. And Elohim will create the man in his own image. In the image of Elohim, he created. Now it says created. Him. Male and female, he created them. But take a look at what some of these other translations say. It says, and Elohim created man. Okay, that's how most of them are. Created man, created man. Created human beings. Good News Bible. Oh, you couldn't be more wrong. Created humans in his image. No, he didn't. He created Ha-Adam in his image. Here, created the man, created man. Oh, no, created man. They don't even say the man. Created man. King James, created man. Every word of God is perfect in the King James Version. Well, and why did they leave out the definite article? Here, literal translation, it says, and Elohim created the man. Okay, well, it's not quite literal because it says will create is the literal translation. But he did get the man anyway. That's good. Male and female, got that. Created man, created man, created man, created man, created man, created man. And Elohim prepareth the man. There's the Young's literal translation. Prepareth. Well, the prepareth, that's kind of an interesting word. Prepareth. Is that kind of, he will create, prepareth? Maybe. Maybe they're trying to get to that imperfect form of that word. Something that he's going to do in the future. Well, you can see, you got to go back to the Hebrew. The Hebrew is so important. Next week, we saw, this is the first time. Okay, I pointed this out when we looked at it. This is the first time that we saw Ha-Adam. It's written man, but it's Ha-Adam. But we're going to see next week that it is Ha-Adam that he is going to create. Also, notice, where did it talk about created man? Here, let me just do this. We were talking about the animals. This is what happens on the sixth day. Let the earth bring forth living creatures. The earth is bringing forth living creatures. Man comes from the ground. Yehovah, we're going to see next week, formed man from the dust of the earth. Didn't form the woman from the dust of the earth. He formed the woman from where? From the man. Yes. Okay, these are all important things that are foundational to understanding all that the Torah is going to give us through the next 3 years plus. This is an amazing journey that we've got to be aware of. Carrie tells me I'm running out of time. We still got a little bit. Joe says, us could have been added. Yeah, well, I think it was added, Joe. I think it was. I think it was perverted. Tom says, Michael, does Ha-Adam only refer to Adam or even each man today? No, when we're talking about Ha-Adam, we're talking about... Here's a great way to answer your question, Tom. Let me do this. I'm going to take you to Ecclesiastes, the last 2 verses of Ecclesiastes. Look what it says. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and keep his commandments, for this is Ha-Adam's all. This is the man's all. Tom, does that answer your question? Whether it is just Adam or all of us? Good. Yes, we're talking about man. All men. Men. He hasn't changed. Yehovah does not change, and his word endures forever. This is foundational understandings for all of Torah. When Yehovah says, how do you say it? The soul who sins shall die. The soul of the Father and the soul of the Son who sins shall die. He's talking about Ha-Adam. Not talking about the ladies. It's not about the ladies. It's about the men. Well, we're going to see next week and perhaps the week after how the man and his woman fit into the picture. Who does Yahovah? Well, we already saw who was created in his image, but we're going to see it even more clearly next week, because we're going to go into the specifics of this creation process. Ooh, I think you're going to find it very, very interesting. Hey, thanks for joining me today. It's really a pleasure to be here to share the things that Yahovah has shown me with you. I want to see you prosper in everything that you do. I want to see you be fruitful. And I want you to multiply after you become fruitful. Not before. We got enough unfruitful people multiplying. We're looking for the good stuff. We're raising up a kingdom. And that's what this class is all about. Raising up a kingdom of people. Men. Ezra, men that will follow Yahovah wholly. And only him, because he's their only Elohim. Well, thank you for joining me. We'll see you next week. Hey, my YouTube channel is available. Here is my YouTube channel. We Are Israel blog -- Michael Didier. You can do a search. You can get to it that way. Subscribe to my channel. If you miss a week, you can always make it up. You know what? Yahovah's word builds on Yahovah's word. You miss a portion, it's going to be important. You don't want to miss pieces. Let's learn it all as Yahovah gave it to us, verse by verse, chapter by chapter. You with me? Hope you can join me in following weeks. Thanks for being here today. Catch y'all later.